Welcome to For Collectors.
Hello, collectors. Welcome to another For Collectors live stream. I am John, the 3D80s Kid, your host for the evening. And now we have one of those dilemmas that comes with trying to put together a live program. Unfortunately, the advertised show is not going to work out. I have a contact at work who few months back, we do morning meetings once a week where it's all, they call it all staff meeting, and people give a little profile each time. They get to pick two people each time for these meetings. And this guy in his profile revealed that he was a bat boy for the Bash Brothers A's. And I was intrigued, and I, reached out later, tried to schedule this show, and he has not shown up, and I'm not able to reach him on cell phone. So we are going to be rolling into open forum, just hangout and chat session. I'll even be throwing the link if anybody else wants to join us. And I'm very sorry if you are looking forward to asking questions about those Bash Brothers A's. So I still bring on my guys that were here to help me with the show. And that is Drew, Clean Cheap Shots, who's got all geared up. Welcome, Drew.
Well, I dressed for the occasion, John.
Yeah, I am so sorry that it did not work out. So, yeah, I'll be changing the thumbnail for this immediately following the conclusion of this show for any future watchers. But, yeah. The wonders of live programming is taking place here, isn't it? So,
yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we'll have a great show. We're gonna show some pictures.
Also here to help me was Mike, the sports history collector. Welcome, Mike.
Glad to be here.
Yes, thank you guys for joining on, and thank you for the chat for coming on board. Let's see who we got out here. We've got Rox Cousteau in that area. Should ask him if he ever did lines in the dugout with Mookie Wilson. I believe by that point they had pretty well cleaned up the cocaine issue that was plaguing the mid early 80s, I believe. So the only drugs taking place at that point were performance enhancing as opposed to career destroying. So because at that point, how many times had folks like Steve Howe and Steve Sachs been suspended, and among others? So, but James Wynn, beautiful day to talk A's baseball. It was, but unfortunately, yeah. Peter B, hello. Orlando, great to see you. Was great to see you on Hobby Hotline this weekend. If anybody didn't catch that, he's back in action in full force there. Mike, Jayhawker Vintage Cards, welcome. We've got Stephen with a PH all the way from Canada saying hi. We've got Tony Southern Collector. We've got Still CDDW. Dan, I'm absolute REA panic right now, bidding on too much. There are a few good cards out there that is closing tonight. Pastor Craig, welcome. Mookie Chilson. Wait, was the guest going to be MC Hammer? No, it was not. I believe he was a little bit before the Bash Brothers because he was already wearing his Hammer pants, making a lot of money that before he went broke there. So by the late 80s. So
Hammer can't touch this.
Exactly. Sing for everyone. I will pass. Then that would just eliminate our entire audience very quickly. Classy sports cards. Welcome Dane to the mix here. We've got White Sox fan card collector. Hey, Mitchell, how you doing? Ruben Snyder. We've got Drew chatting. We got Jacob Dahl. We got Rudog 21. We got David Peacemaker Cards. We got Jeremy Filippelli. Hello from California. And Eddie, I'm caught up on the chat. And if you didn't hear in the intro, unfortunately, my invitee has ghosted me at this point this weekend. I haven't heard why he's not here. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully his family's okay, but he has not made it to be on the program. And so we are winging it. And I'm even going to right now throw out, I'm copying the link to the studio if anyone wants to come on screen and hang out, because I've got no agenda anymore. So it is open chat for everybody. I know these guys went to grab some cards, so I guess we'll just start. What do you got to show, guys? Who's first?
I'll go first since Orlando's here, and I'm glad he's doing really well. Every time I look at this card, I always think of Orlando.
That is a nice one.
Yeah. So Orlando, I'm glad you're doing well. Great to see you back. So I'm looking forward to seeing you at the National.
As we all. All right. He was kidnapped by McGuire and Canseco because they didn't want him to reveal the secrets, I guess, huh?
I think Canseco revealed just about everything in his books.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's already told it all of it, right? He slipped on the pine tar. Love that Minoso. There we go. Orlando commented. So, yeah, I saw you pull up a card there, Mike. Here you go.
Yeah, I've got. I just grabbed a handful. Mostly football, since that's what I've been collecting the last few weeks. But this one is a T205 Al Bridwell, which I got to go along with. See if you can see without any glare. I got that to go along with right back here along the bookcases that have stuff that's actually going to go on the wall. But I'm going to start putting displays up here of New York famous events. And Bridwell was part of the Merkel Boner. He was actually the player that got the hit when Merkel didn't go from first base all the way to second base. So he's going to be included in that.
All right, cool stuff. All right.
You know, we were going to talk Ace tonight, so I'll show you another one.
Okay.
How's that, John?
That'll work.
I got, let's see here. Well, here's my, so so this is a 9. And so when I was a kid, I opened up so many of these wax packs, so many of them. I'm just going to,
Oh, geez.
that I actually memorized the sequence that these came in. So whenever I saw a cello pack or a rack pack that had Dan Spillner, I knew darn well there was a Ricky Henderson in there. So at one time, I probably had around, I don't know, 12 of these or something like that. I don't know. I sold a bunch of them off so that I could pick up this guy. But yeah, I had so many of these Ricky Hendersons with most of them came back as 9s. I think I had a 7, but this one turned out to be a 9 for me, or rather, most of them came back as 8. Sorry. But yeah, I thought I'd better show at least a Ricky Henderson A's while I've got the uniform on.
It was such a shock when he passed away so
Oh,
young.
yeah, he and Nolan Ryan were my favorite players as a kid, and so this last year in Cleveland, I bought a ticket to get him to sign a jersey for me. So I'm so glad I did that here since he passed. So, but yeah, I sold a bunch of them again just to finance the 53 Willie Mays, which was the last card that I needed to complete the 53 set in a graded fashion.
Nice.
So I know it's perfectly off-centered. In case Dylan's watching.
Looks great.
There you go.
All right. Anybody wants to hop on screen and share anything, you are totally welcome. The link is posted in the chat. We are free form here tonight.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right.
Well, Mike's got
Maybe we
some.
should switch to auction closing. Oh,
Did you
Mike's
win?
got another one to show.
This is a 1968 Topps Joe Namath, and as I've been getting older, well, we all getting older, I guess, but as I am getting really older, I've really started wanting to collect my childhood cards again, of my childhood heroes, and Joe Namath was top dog for me for football. So the last several things I've got have been Joe Namath. So that's most of what you're going to see right now.
Mike,
Cool
help me.
card.
Mike, help me remember the story. Joe Namath was an outstanding baseball player as well. You know,
Oh, yeah.
he was going to quit football, and I get the story. Somebody from my 53 set talked him out of quitting football, and I can't remember who it was. Some baseball player.
I don't remember that. I think his I always heard his brother had talked him out of it.
Yeah, there's a baseball player, and I'd have to go back and look at the bios that I've done on him. But there was one that talked about that.
It might have been too that he was offered a scholarship to Alabama to play football, but baseball he would have had to go to the minors. So I'm not sure. I know there's a story, and I just can't remember it either.
Maybe somebody in the chat will pipe up and remember it. Recently, I got my first Venezuelan card. I didn't even know this existed, and then I got to talking with John Mangini and Dan, and I ended up finding a second one. So my first, this is actually a sticker, but I did not know that he had a card out there. So
I'm not real familiar with the Venezuelan cards. Are those the names of the teams that are on there, or?
I believe so. And I should point out that Rob from Cash Cards actually sent this to me. He got it in Strongsville. So thank you, Rob, if you're on and watching. Appreciate that. But that perpetuated me to go out and find that one. So just another good example of how generous the community is.
Cool stuff. All right. I
What do you got there, Mike?
This is the 72, I believe. Yeah, 72 NFL Players Association. The Joe Namath sticker. There's actually two versions of this. One where they've got the head kind of, I guess, looking the other way. But I'm not.
His hair looks like he got electrocuted or something.
That's his cool 70s hair. Come on.
That was cool, huh? Okay. Well, I was never cool, so you know.
50,000 starlets all thought so.
You're right about that. Well, this year I'm not making any goals for the national. I'm just going to let the national come to me. Last year I picked up. I finally got my Roberto Clemente.
Nice.
So, and Hammer 44 spent a good part of the day helping me try to find that card. But yeah, different approach going into it this year. I don't think that I'm going to set any goals. Just if I see something, I'm going to grab it, and yeah, let the show come to me.
Do you have any kind of list or anything you're going to take, or
any what?
Any kind of list that you're absolutely looking for? Or?
No, not really. I just think I'm just going to go and have fun, and yeah.
How about you, John?
Oh, I always have lists. I can't help but like pick specific cards of players that I specifically want with my whole one card of every Hall of Famer project. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be compelled at this point to finish my post-war vintage run because I'm only 2 cards away. So the only 2 holes I have left in my plan is a 51 Topps Blueback Ashburn and a 54 Topps Willie Mays. So then I'll have all 84 of my planned cards for post-war vintage all set until Pete Rose gets in the Hall of Fame in a few years. Now, but
Well,
go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No,
I was just gonna say I don't think there's going to be any. Well, I guess some people don't think this, but I don't think there's going to be any problem with him getting into the Hall. You know, him not being in the Hall with all his numbers and records and everything is kind of just a blank spot in the Hall, even though they've got, I'm sure, bats and balls and gloves and everything else from him that they can put on display, but it's kind of something missing if he's not there.
hey, have they? The Hall of Fame? Did they make any announcement or release anything on the matter at all?
I haven't heard anything. But if they don't alter the current plan for like the eras committees, I've heard that he wouldn't fit on any of the ballots until like the 2028 ballot.
Right.
Correct.
So
yeah, I mean that's just it. I mean just because Major League Baseball came out and said, "Hey, we're releasing the band or whatever it is," that doesn't mean the Hall of Fame is going to put him on the ballot. They are 2 separate entities.
That's true, but they usually do follow their lead more or less. So
I've seen stranger things, but you're right, Mike. They'll probably follow the lead.
yeah, I mean, do they do some kind of special ballot for him and Joe Jackson and just push him in right away? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have a special committee pop up and vote him in.
I will say I was a little heaved at him at the time when he got suspended, and I was pretty strong about him not getting in, but not so strong. I have a Hall of Fame book that I only have Hall of Famers sign, so they have to already be in the Hall of Fame because I don't want anybody in there that maybe never gets in. Just the way, just being OCD, I guess. But Pete Rose is the only person I did have that wasn't in the Hall of Fame that signed it, and now I'm glad he did. So
yeah, good.
Well, that's good, but
well, I'll show you another cards. And it's nothing great, but I got that for $0.25 today. 25 cents. Went to a local show and
that's crazy.
is
there something wrong with it that I don't see?
Cents?
I mean, no, there's no creases in it. I look now. The corners are a little bit soft.
Well, still for 25 cents.
Yeah, for $0.25, and then he had just those Ken Boyer and Louis T on. And he goes, "Well, would you do $1 for those 4?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I can do that." And then I don't know. It was a kind of a young kid that had them, and I
was wondering, does he know who they even are?
I don't know. I don't really think so, John. He made the comment like, "Yeah, I don't know, vintage doesn't really sell. I just soon get rid of it. I really don't understand it." And I said, "Well, what about there's that Mickey Grasso out there?" I said, "I don't know, $20 kind of high." He said, "Yeah, you're right." So he took a few bucks off of that. And I like Mickey Grasso's story. He was a prisoner of war during World War II. So I love the story behind him. But I thought, yeah, sure, I can do that. And he had another one. He goes, "Well, I've got another vintage card. I'll throw that one in for $10." And I said, "Okay, but you got 30 on it." And he goes, "Yeah, I'll give it to you for 10. Now, I got to admit, I don't know a lot about this guy, but I'm looking forward to doing a lot of research and hopefully a story on him. So
It's one of Adam Vintage Sanctuary's Yankee contributor folks. So
okay,
So you got that one for 10?
yeah.
I think he was a relief pitcher.
It cost him more to slab it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't
Well,
know.
he definitely didn't want that Lewis Paint card, so
I don't know. I'm like, yeah, sure. Thank you. Here's a quarter.
yeah.
I don't know.
Here's another oddball Namath card. Well, it's actually a iron-on from 72. Another NFL Players Association. I kind of like some of these, the ones that aren't the Pops cards, just because they're a little different. Same hair, Drew.
Yeah, see that. Hey, at least he's got some.
Got to have that rock star kind of thing going on.
Yeah, he sure did. Classy Sports Card says I stole those cards. Well, I swear I said, are you sure? I even
those are crazy prices.
I even told him the story about Mickey Grasso, thinking, well, that might impress him, and he'd go, "Oh, that is kind of cool." No,
You probably said POW in the war. You mean Afghanistan or?
yeah, I don't know, but hey, I'll take the win.
Well, the only cards I even had in front of me were ones that are stacked up. Their future fuel probably bring to the National for trades or whatever, but I'll go ahead and show them. Because, I'm planning on probably trying to get my 54 Willie during the National. And so I was going to unload this one.
That's a nice score.
It looks good there, John.
And then this one, if it'll focus.
Are these duplicates?
No, I'm just going away from having extra cards of him. This is the end of the bedroom. I have limited space, and I'm sticking to my one card of every person. So
You could
completely
about the ceiling.
So, and my kids show no sign of being out of our house anytime soon. But and then I got this one.
Are your kids showing interest in the cards at all?
Oh, zero. I rekindled my hobby too late for them. So.
Well, John, I enjoyed seeing your what behind the videos that Mangini's doing. I saw you had your kids on there, right? Was it just one?
I had all three of them appear, and I, intentionally teed them up to mock me, and only two of them got the assignment. So
you would have thought that would have came naturally.
You would think, but
that becomes a problem when you don't have the room to display stuff, but you have like a whole bunch of stuff that's sitting in a drawer. I kind of thought maybe over the years I would just rotate stuff out.
I
It
saw
just never
Tony
happened.
pop on screen here, and they disappeared.
Since Mangini popped in, John, the other cards that I got these two for 25 cents as well. I know you're a Dick Stewart guy, so.
Jim Gilliam.
Yeah.
Dick Stewart.
Yeah.
Dr. Strangeglove.
I won't. Yeah, I know. So I got really lucky, but since we're showing Willie Mays, I'll show you Willie.
Yeah, Mangini says he needs you to do his card buying, so.
55s. I'm trying to
I'll
work
come
on.
on here and show some cards.
Because apparently with you, the whole $3 thing wouldn't just be mythical.
Boy, if I could get away with spending $3, geez.
Yeah, I spent a total of $6 today at that card show. A total. But yeah, I'm trying to put the 55 set together. Yeah, I got that 53 set put together in graded fashion. Now I'm doing 55. So there's Hank Aaron, Jackie,
Nice.
and rookie card of Mr. Koufax. Mike, you might enjoy that one.
Yeah, I still need that one.
Let's
I would love to
see.
get it signed, but they're way too expensive.
Ted. So
Sweet.
some of my 55s. I think Duke Snyder and Hal Newhouser, I think, are the only 2 cards left that I need from that. That's for the Hall of Famers.
Nice.
Anybody else wants to come on screen, show cards, shoot the ball? It's wide open.
Send me your receipts for my wife. You got to cook the books, John. You got to have a second ledger.
But
All right, this is also from. Seems like all the oddball ones are from '72 for some reason. This is a '72 Sunoco Joe Namath stamp. Stay in focus. Yeah. Hey Drew, who was your favorite football player growing up?
1 second. Favorite football player? Well, I don't know. I was a pretty big Fran Tarkington fan.
Oh yeah.
But actually, my dad's favorite player was a guy that he kind of grew up with. He grew up just a few miles from us, and that was Pat Fisher, a guy that I think probably should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't, but he grew up in St. Edward, Nebraska. I think it was his senior year. He left, the family left and went to Omaha, to an Omaha school. But that guy could hit. He could tackle. And my dad always said you'd never messed with the Fisher boys. They were tougher than nails. And so more recently, I actually went out and bought I don't do too many jerseys, but I thought I'd pick up a Pat Fisher jersey.
Mangini says he should be in the Hall.
Yeah, no, I saw John Mangini. I think it was maybe back in October after Pat Fisher passed away. I know he did a very short clip on Pat Fisher, and I know you mentioned him. So
I bet Tony didn't get any cards for 25 cents recently.
What's up, fellas?
Howdy.
The wife is out of town, and I didn't have anything else to do, so here I am. And I wanted to share a card that I wanted to dedicate to our buddy Orlando. Look at that. A signed Mini Minoso, Carmelo Deportivo. And I reached out to Orlando about the dealer to make sure, because I got it off Facebook, but wanted to kind of got a few Cuban cards here I wanted to show. Got
I would bet that you wouldn't find many of those signed.
No, there's only 3. There's only 3 of these signed in that set, and there's only 5 total, and 3 of them are minis. So that's very rare. But also, Orlando picked up a Toleteros, Hilton Smith, played in the Negro Leagues, and Willard Brown. So Orlando's kind of gave me some inspiration, I guess you could say. Got a couple more. I can't remember this guy's name. This was an extra guy they threw in with the Toleteros, but basically this guy was supposed to be on the Minco Jackie Robinson card. Can't remember his name, but he was a Negro League player that went and played in Japan. Really cool card. Got the Japanese writing on the back. So, anyways, really proud of this one. James Gilliam. Jim Gilliam played with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Because he was so good, they moved Jackie off second base, and it kind of prompted them to let him go. But again, this is one of the Cuban cards too. This is from, I believe, the same set that the Josh Gibson was from. So he's a native Nashvillian. He grew up right next to Sulphur Dell Stadium, where the Nashville Vols played, and so the street in front of where the Nashville Sounds new stadium sits is James Gilliam Boulevard.
Yep.
So, anyways, a little history. Also picked up some more of the Carmelo Deportivos. So I'm gonna be doing a video on that one. So just want to tell Orlando, kind of dedicated that to him. So I wanted to show those on the screen.
Very nice.
Nice. All right.
Tony, when you, as far as your collecting style, I mean, do you specifically look for something, target something, and go to get it, or do you is your wants so wide that it just whatever comes up and it just attracts you, or how do you?
Well, I have lanes. So I have a pre-war lane I like, and then like things evolve. You know what I'm saying? Like for a while, I'm real passionate about one thing, and then it can kind of move into another thing. And so right now, the thing I'm just obsessed with is autograph cards, autograph vintage. So just recently added to my autograph Jackie Robinson run. And so I've got 3 signed Jackie Robinson cards now. I've got the 54 and 255s. So, that's something I'm really big on at the moment.
Yeah, the 55 Jackie signed would be my dream card.
Yeah, so I'll sell you this one because I'm planning on keeping both of them. But if I got a really good offer on one of them, I'd take it because I want to try to do some more signed Jackies, and they're kind of expensive. And if I can get rid of one to fund another, I can do that. But then, I'm really into like these Cuban cards are really cool, man. It's a new lane for me, and I'm kind of figuring those out, and it gives me something to kind of look into and try to figure out. So so it's been really neat. What I did when I got all these, I sat down and started looking into these players, and so I've looked up all of their biographies, and it's really interesting because they were really amazing players. And if they were around today with the kind of skills they had, they'd be part of the Latin guys playing in the major leagues right now, or they'd be black guys that played in the major leagues right now. But unfortunately, the major leagues wouldn't allow that. So they went, the Cuban guys stayed in Cuban until it opened up. A lot of them played for the New York Cubans in the Negro Leagues. So it's really interesting to me, that they didn't get those shots, but it doesn't mean they weren't really awesome players. So trying to find information on those guys is kind of difficult, but it's challenging at the same time. So I like the history and I like the cards. So it kind of gives me something to challenge me in finding out about those guys.
Yeah.
I can find out about Babe Ruth all day long. There's probably 8 books written about him that I can find right now on Amazon. But when you're looking up Willard Brown, it's a little more difficult. So anyways, it's really kind of cool to me.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. You know what I like to do when a plan for a live stream completely falls apart? I like for John Mangini to show me some baseball cards.
Man, Tony was making me jealous with the Cuban cards. I wanted to come show some.
Let's go. Let's just dedicate this whole show to Orlando.
All right. I want to start off with a story you may or may not know. So Branch Rickey had called Roy Campanella. and offered him a job to play with the Dodgers. And there was a Negro League team. It was the Brooklyn Black Dodgers. And so Roy Campanella was making good money on the team he was on, and he didn't want to switch. So he was talking to Jackie Robinson, and he said he told him that Branch Rickey had called him and wanted him to play for the Black Dodgers. And Jackie Robinson said to him, "Are you sure he meant the Black Dodgers?" And that's how he discovered that he was called up to the real, to the Major League Dodgers, and he called Branch Rickey right back and accepted. Did I cut out there?
You're lagging a little bit.
You went a little grainy, but we still heard everything.
You heard the story? All right,
Yeah.
let me show you. This is some education on some good players. This was Quincy Troop. This card here is the only one ever graded. Quincy Troop was a catcher from South Carolina. His name originally was pronounced Troupe, but he changed it to Troop. And when he came up for a cup of coffee in the major leagues with Cleveland in 1952, when he caught for Sam Jones, they became the first black battery in American League history.
Wow. Very cool.
All right, cool.
That's awesome.
Here
John.
is this is Louis Tion's father.
Yep. That's on my list.
Yeah, he's technically not a senior, but they call him a senior.
Yeah.
Because to be a junior, you have to have the exact same middle name too.
And was it the 75 World Series that Fidel Castro let him leave Cuba
Yeah,
to come
I
back
believe.
and watch Louis Tion pitch, and he sat in Fenway Park?
Yeah, hold on.
And that was unusual because Castro he wasn't letting people leave Cuba very often.
Here's a 19. That's the first World Series I remember watching, and I remember watching Louis Tion. And so
Yeah.
I got this is a 1975 Game 7 proof World Series ticket. Never
Awesome.
distributed.
That's really cool.
To go with that. Here is now there are no names on this card. And I'm drawing a blank on what year it's from. These are cool action Cuban cards. And this features on it Buster Clarkson. And Buster Clarkson's from my hometown area. And I used to run around with his nephew. In fact, his nephew's in his 50s and he's still playing baseball, organized baseball. And Buster Clarkson played with Clemente back in the day. When he was, I heard he was like a mentor / coach when Clemente was really young, along with Monty Irvin, of course. This is Ray Dandridge, one of the greatest players of the Negro Leagues.
Yeah,
And it's a shame because if you look up his stats, they really don't have a lot of stats on him. And so, it's my understanding he was way better than the stats show. This is actually a very scarce card. And this is the Martin Dihigo from the same set. Martin Dihigo is the only player in 5 Hall of Fames. And just a Cuban legend.
Yeah.
He faced Satchel Paige twice in his career and beat him both times.
Yeah.
Oh.
And here's the Martin Dihigo from the year before that. So I wanted to show you those. I'll show you another cool card. This is the only set I know from El Salvador. And this is John McGraw. And this is the only one ever graded. So
Awesome.
as of now, anyway, until they discover another one, this is the only place you can see this.
Very cool.
And it's so cool. They colorized these, but these were from El Salvador. I have some other sports too from here.
Where did you find
they
that,
have an
John? Was that-
awesome Babe Ruth, and they have an awesome Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig together. And I mean, the Babe Ruth Lou Gehrig together is just phenomenal. There's a guy that's been trying to sell one for like $25,000. I saw it at the National, at the YouTube get together.
Good thing all those cards are flabbed up, otherwise they'd be worthless, right, John?
They're not all slabbed. I don't. They're not worthless
I
to
like
me,
to
man.
poke the bear.
They're
So
not worthless to me. So I have all those NFL stuff he was showing. The Sunoco stamps. Sunoco was a gas station. I have a bunch of those, and the 72 vinyl. I have that set. That's a great set. In fact, I have the Joe Namath sticking up over there, and then those iron-ons as well. Those are all fantastic. I love those old football sets.
Cool.
now speaking
Welcome,
of those
welcome,
being
Eddie.
slabbed, those Carmelo Deportivos, they are as thin as paper. Just
Yep.
so you can see what they look like unslabbed, they are like the Cracker Jack cards.
Yeah, I do have some ungraded, so I do know what they feel like, unlike most people, Tony.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, they're
But how do
very
you know
thin.
they're
They're like
real
the
yet, John?
propagandists.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Once they're slabbed, people don't understand. Like the Cracker Jack cards, you don't really understand how thin those are until you can put
Yep.
one in your fingers. So,
Right.
Are they so thin that you can't put them in like a penny sleeve or?
yeah,
mean,
I put it in a penny sleeve and then put it in a rigid holder. That's what I keep them in. But even that, even like trying to push it in, it'll bend on you. It's really difficult, man.
Yeah,
So,
they're literally like a thicker paper.
yes.
Literally like paper. Yeah.
They have a little bit of gloss on the front of them, but they're just extremely thin.
I have
I
a
would be
couple.
worried that-
I'm waiting to hear from Jeff Wilson on how he stores his before I decide. What I'm gonna do.
Well, I would
would
almost
do-
be
I would
worried.
do what he
I'd be
says.
worried about grading them because the grading companies aren't always the most gentle with the cards.
No, they are not. I hear all kind of stories of people damaging them.
Jeff Wilson would say those are boring because they're not shiny and they don't have, all
And
stuff.
don't make a set of them, whatever you do.
You cannot talk about Jeff Wilson. Anytime you talk about Jeff Wilson, people tell you you're jealous.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's the only comeback they have. I don't know why you have to be jealous of somebody. I mean, I'm not even saying like anything. When you say nothing bad about him whatsoever, you just address a topic.
Yeah.
Like the other night, I just addressed a topic he talked about. I didn't say a single bad word about the guy. And the cult members come at you, boy. Let's show some propagandist Montiel. Tony, you have these.
I don't have one of those.
Oh,
That-
you don't?
No,
Here's DiMaggio.
I don't have the
Sweet.
catalog that the Mangini has.
These are
I'm-
really super thin too. Of course,
What?
these were meant to be glued into albums, so it's kind of silly. There was an album for them, so it's kind of silly that they even wrote up a back because you couldn't see it after you put it in the album.
It's the same thing
here's
with the Carmelos. Same thing. I had to.
Yeah, same thing, right? Here and then the Tops Venezuela weren't meant to be in albums, but everybody put them there. They glued them in because I don't know. That's just what kids did back then. But this is the Dom DiMaggio. You got to have the brothers. Here's Jimmy Fox,
Awesome.
Carl Hubble. And this guy only has one mainstream card, and that's a 1940 play ball. And he was a great pitcher. Look up his stats. Spud Chandler. He didn't play
Yeah.
long enough to be in the Hall of Fame. If he had, he probably would be. And Johnny Mize. Rip Sewell. All right, I'm done. I have a bunch of. This is how I store them currently. Oops,
That's
those are-
awesome.
yeah.
They need to be in a Mangini slab.
Well, the problem is they're too thin. You can't make your own. I'm trying to get somebody. All right, if anybody knows the 1948, 48, 49, 50 BCW sleeves, they make sleeves that those cards slide right into, and then you could put them in any holder. The outer part of the sleeve fits in the holder, and then they have pockets that fit perfectly, like 1950 Bowman, for instance.
Right.
What somebody needs to make is one of those that doesn't have the pocket, that's just open, because it's firm enough that it'll hold something like this in place, and then you can put them in our holders. but nobody makes those currently. I've been begging MagPro to make.
John, are those as thin as the Carmelos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I think they were made to be more like stamps, even though they're not called that, to go into albums.
Well, when I thought I might want to come on, it was before John and Tony came on and started showing cards. Now I don't want to show anything. It's like going on after the Beatles. It's like,
Nah.
I got this crap sitting here. I was going to show.
I just wanted to,
Right?
give something for Orlando, man. That's all. All I was doing.
Well, here I can be a quick palate cleanser for you, Eddie, and you can show anything after what I have here. So
yeah,
I was just jealous. Tony was playing and I wasn't. I wanted to play with Tony.
Well, I have got the world premiere of my latest channel card that I had made for fun. Those of you, many folks in the community say this is the most beautiful card ever made, but I made my own variation on it, and it's going to be this one here.
you turn
What'd you make?
Turn the head of the runner so it doesn't look like he's kissing the dirt.
That is my head on the body down there with a thumbs up.
That's funny.
So there we go. And then even the back, I basically did as close as I could of a replica of the Pee Wee Reese with even the text. And
Cool.
Did you make that yourself, or did you have it done?
I had it printed, but I made the PDF file that I sent to them. So,
John, you're showing your height and weight on the back.
what's that?
Back is clean.
What'd you say, that Drew?
I said, you're showing your height and weight on the back. What are you doing?
I don't care. It's I'm not a woman.
It's not accurate anyway. No, everybody lies about those things.
You should have said 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah, most of us have met him, so we would
Hey,
know.
John, let me.
So there we go. Now you can show anything, Eddie, and it's going to be superior to that card.
Well, before I do that, I wanted to ask Tony something. So you have those Mickey Mantle autographs that you had slabbed up by PSA DNA. Were you walking around the National, like showing those to people?
I only had one that I did last year at the National. It was the 1959 one. I don't remember. I had it at the get together. I think it was this one. That's the one I've had since I was 14.
I didn't think I met you. Like, I know I didn't shake your hand and say, "Hey, my name's Eddie," but I remember. I think I might have even been with.
I had this one too.
But somebody came up and was like showing off a Mantle autograph in a PSA DNA slab to me and to someone I was with, another YouTuber, and it might have been you, but anyway.
Yeah.
You're going this year?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Good, I'll get to meet you in person then. So
Yeah,
so like I said, when I thought I might just hop on here, the show is languishing a little bit, be honest with you. Sorry guys. But it's supposed to be an A's show, and you're talking about football. So I wanted to get back on the A's train at least a little bit. And I grabbed like 4 or 5 autographs of like great A's. And I started thinking about like who's got like, substantial careers that I have handy. So I grabbed 5 here. Raleigh Fingers, 73 tops. A lot of these are 73 tops because I have 58% of the set signed. So there's the Raleigh. Part of the fingernails I guard all day, and I don't wear gloves because it makes me crazy. When I pull up the Career War, 25 Career War for fingers. Here's a guy no one talks about. My Career War, a lot of it's from the stolen bases, but a great Oakland A as far as I'm concerned. Bert Campaneris,
Oh yeah, he's so underappreciated.
Yeah,
I
53 on
watched
the career.
games with him, and man, he was a good player.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
will talk
what's
about
the
Concepcion, but not Campaneris for some reason.
And didn't he lead the league in stolen bases like many years in a row?
I
yeah?
don't
Let
know
me
if it
look
was
here.
in
I
a
got it
row.
handy.
Maybe it wasn't in a row, but he was a good solid hitter.
6-time All-Star. Oh, I'm on his stupid minor league page here. I'm trying to do two things at once.
And guess where
Mhm.
Campaneris was from? Cuba.
Oh, was he? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Let's see. Stolen bases, 4 straight years and 5 out of 6,
Yeah,
and
I
6 out of
thought
7
so.
years.
Yeah, not too many
That's
people
awesome.
lead it 4 years in a row. Not too many.
649 for the career. Billy, what is that? Like 5th all time, somewhere in there? It's pretty high. I got a few more here. Another guy does not get enough cred.
Sal
Bando.
Yeah, he does not.
You got it.
I knew it was coming.
Captain.
Yeah,
Those were big
great
names when I was
Oakland
growing
A.
up.
He was a 4-time All-Star, 3 World Series, of course. No black ink except games played, but I mean, great ball player.
No.
Okay, now
you're
we get
showing
to
those
some
guys.
boys.
Are you showing Gene Tennis next?
No, I did not grab tennis. I could have though, but now we're getting to the Hall of Fame. 74 career WAR. There's going to be some glare on this one. Not a vintage card, but here on a Stadium Club. Nice Reggie.
Heck
And I
yeah.
know Mike Petty would appreciate that there's a nice spot for a clean autograph without any black background or anything like that. And that's why I picked this card, because I just knew it'd look great. I love spring training cards, palm trees background. Man, I got this done through a private signing, and it's one of those ones you get back and you're like, it could not have been better than what I'd hoped. Okay. The greatest Oakland A of all time. And my personal friend, who I met at the National in 2022. You've seen this card on my channel, I don't know, 100 times, but here it is again. And why wouldn't I? And
He
still
stole a few
upset
bases,
about
didn't he?
December
Did he steal a few
21st.
bases?
I think he's got some black ink on the stolen bases.
He
Hey,
stole a
Eddie,
few.
no Catfish Hunter?
I do have a Catfish Hunter, and it's on the wall right here, but I don't know. I might want to replace it because it's not on a card that I'm totally in love with. So,
How
and
about
I was
Blue
just,
Moon
like I
Odom?
said, I was just trying to scurry and throw something together here. So that's the 5 I grabbed.
I want
Okay,
to see
since
some
I
Blue
was
Moon Odom.
chastised,
Joe Rudy, I have on the
Chastised.
73s. I have Blue Moon Odom. I have any of those guys. I have autographs of.
Since I was
Whoa.
chastised on football, we have Al Simmons,
Woo!
Philadelphia
There
A's,
you go.
Great player.
Same organization.
Great
and
player.
yeah, well,
I'd have to go
and
get my Chief
let's-
Bender autograph ball out of the safe, but I don't want to go get it.
Mhm.
so-
You have a
Yeah.
Chief Bender autograph ball.
Well, he's on there with Babe Ruth.
Oh,
That's the only 2 guys that are on there.
we got a little Jimmy
he's
Fox
only
and
on
Connie
there with
Mack
Babe
there.
Ruth.
That's really cool, man. I love that.
Those are nice, Mike.
Very cool.
There, I
Hey
chose an
Tony,
A's.
does that make that the most expensive Chief Bender autograph on the planet?
It might be. It might be. Here's my only Oakland A's auto. I got the 69 Reggie that I think he signed like 1 million times at this point, but still
Mhm.
very cool.
His prices have gone up now.
Yeah.
I have an Oakland A. Let me show my Oakland A. Joe DiMaggio.
Oh yeah,
He coached for them, right?
He did for a minute.
Yeah,
I
he
think
has
he-
a what is it? What's it called? Jack in the Box card in '69 with the A's.
Yeah, I think
guys
Rick
know that
Bundy was
card?
on the team when he was coaching.
You guys know that card?
No, I'm sure you have it though.
No, I don't have that one. They want ridiculous money for an old Joe DiMaggio coach card, so I never got it. I have some other from the set. Somebody mentioned Babe Ruth and somebody mentioned spring training. So how about I show this? This is a spring training type 1 photo.
That's awesome. I remember when you got that.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love this thing. Because
Yeah.
he's
What year
like,
is that?
I mean, look
Countries.
at his warm-up clothing. It's just funny. He's in like, you know, like, what do you call those? Long John. He has like a Long John shirt almost.
He looks like he's in really good shape.
Well, he's down there in spring training. On the back of it, it reads that this is during his contract dispute. So he wasn't allowed in the stadium or whatever. So I'm not even sure if I'm not sure if it's spring training or he's just keeping in shape while he's negotiating his contract.
Well, John, I'm going to head out, buddy. I just wanted to do the Cuban cards as an ode to my buddy Orlando and tell him how glad I am he's better. And I'll let y'all take it from here.
Thanks for hopping by.
All right,
Yeah.
man.
See you, Tony.
See
I'm going to
y'all.
hop off too, John. I
Bye,
just
Tony.
wanted to hop on as
See
well
y'all.
for that reason. Orlando, great to see you back, buddy. I know you're going to be up here soon visiting me. Your room's all ready. Your room's all ready. All right, guys. I'll see you. Thanks for letting me jump on.
All
Hey,
right.
John.
Hi, John.
It's like
All right, I
when
can
Jeannie-
stay a little bit longer. I don't know.
Eddie, I
How are
thought
the
you-
A's doing in Sacramento? You know,
what's that?
how are the A's holding up as an organization, being kind of homeless right now? Do we know? I haven't looked at attendance, or I know they're winning a lot more games right now because they're in the same division as the Mariners.
Yeah, and when they win, it's like they win big or they lose big.
Yeah,
They got swept by the Giants this past weekend, but they got a lot of young talent. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to end up. I mean, will they end up in Vegas? Well, probably, but who knows with that owner?
They
Yeah, I
haven't
think
even
it's
started
good.
the stadium, have they?
no, they haven't put a shovel in the ground yet, and there's been some snafus, I think. So
Yeah, I don't.
it's a pretty
But
weird
everything-
situation.
I don't know that everything's been signed and set in motion. I know that the space has been demoed and cleared, but they were going to do that anyway. So that wasn't just because the A's were thinking of moving there.
Yeah, it looks like they're 22 and 25, 5 games back. Division leader, Seattle Mariners, at least for now. I know not to celebrate, of course.
Well, even for that small stadium in West Sacramento, it's not like they had to worry about overfilling that with the number of local fans now. So
Yeah.
Well, they were
Well,
underfilling
sympathetic,
the other
that's-
stadium.
Someone that's lost a franchise from my city. My heart goes out to Oakland, even though I don't like the A's because they're a rival. I feel real bad that happened the way it did, because I know the feeling. It stinks. It's really terrible.
well, they already had the
You a,
Oakland Raiders
Pilots
jerk
fan?
them around twice. So,
Yeah.
Eddie, were you a Pilots fan?
I wasn't born to be a Pilots fan, so I was born in '74. So, but I mean, I'm up on the history. I have books. I have cards. I have hats. Embrace them as part of the culture, and it was a lawsuit that came from the Pilots leaving that gave birth to the Mariners, basically. So, yeah, I'm as much as a Pilots fan as I could be, and I have listened or read Ball 4 many times.
Great book.
Vintage
Yeah.
Dave T just did a little video on the Seattle Pilots today. Showed
Yeah.
some cards, talked about
He's
that.
got a much better. He's got a much better represented collection of pilots than I do. I just have kind of hodgepodge. But yeah, he's really good with like Seattle history stuff too.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting story. I'd heard it once before, but they go to spring training and then they make a right turn instead of a left turn and go straight to Milwaukee instead of going back to Seattle after spring training.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, they were halfway back and they had to pull over, put the trucks in idle, and wait like a day to figure out what's going to happen. And yeah, they take a right turn. They hire a bunch of ladies to rip the stitching off the pilots' uniforms and sew on Brewer stuff and pop up franchise.
can you
just like
imagine?
that.
Can you imagine the logistics? I mean,
Oh,
from having to move families and just
yeah.
well, stay and all of that.
I mean, as much as I can't say like I don't like that they left or whatever because I wasn't even born, but Selig was at the right place at the right time, and he had all his ducks in a row, and he knew, credit to him and the Brewers or whatever for being there and reading the writing on the wall, and he executed it like a master. So it worked out well for them, but only because like the planning on his end was perfect.
Going back to the A's, I don't know that there's another major sporting franchise that have been in 4 different locations. So for the A's, you had Philadelphia, Kansas City, Oakland. Now they're in Sacramento. Maybe you count that. Maybe it's going to be 5. They move to Vegas or wherever they end up. I don't think there's any other major sports team that's ever been in that many locations before.
No, probably number 2 would be the Braves, but that's at 3.
Yeah. Boston, Milwaukee, Atlanta.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
That's tough.
Henry S. saying there's a card show in Salem. Yeah, that's too far. Oh, and June 14th, there's actually the Washington State Convention, which I go to. It's pretty much the only other like decent card show I go to every year besides the National. And so I think it's that same weekend as that weekend or the weekend before. So I'll be going to that. But thanks for thinking of me, Henry. John, you going to Salem on the 14th?
I hadn't planned on it because at this point I'm saving up money again because of what is currently actually my favorite A's card. That was my last big purchase.
Yeah, I have not spent. I mean, if you look at my channel and you notice a lack of videos, because I don't have a lot of stuff coming in, and I'm trying to put every dollar to the National because there's certain things I want to do. Oh yeah, I saw your video on that. Beautiful card. Yeah.
Home run
Nice.
Vegas.
Yeah, I need to look into the boxers of that set, like you were mentioning, because I need to. After the National's over, I want to revive my boxing collection. Yeah, neat card.
Yeah, I've been eyeing that one for a while and finally pulled the trigger. So
Nice. Very nice, John.
I figured it was an opportunity with this GAI slab. So, and it did turn out to be, because I feel like if it would have been in an SGC, it probably would have been at least 200 or 300 more regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I like how they put that label along the top. I wonder why no one else ever adopted that. That's
that is
a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
So
I've never noticed that before either until your video.
we got a question. Saving for the night. That's not why I'm saving. Okay. Great. What happened to the 5-card series, John? Did the last group get canceled? That's a joke because David is in the next episode that will be airing. It's just been in the can for a little while because when I can get filming sessions in, I try to do them for pre-records, and actually filmed another one this weekend. So when it's my turn for pre-recorded videos, which is coming up soon, I'm gonna show both of them that week. So,
Oh, can't wait to see that one. It's probably pretty good.
yeah, both had a couple good panels on both shows. So, yeah, those are fun. So, which we have 41 people here still. So, yeah, if anybody, if you haven't signed up to be on one of those, feel free and let me know. So, I'm still doing them.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna bail. I gotta check on my meatloaf and start getting ready for my week. So, thanks for letting me hop in here and have a great week,
An
everybody.
hour of dragging this out with no plan is probably adequate for about all of us. We did have a real show in mind, but yeah, thank you guys, Drew, Mike, for volunteering and then rolling with the punches of this. So yeah, and yeah, thanks for popping on, Eddie and Tony, John. So everybody, thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time here on For Collectors, hopefully with a real planned show. So
Bye.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Love my hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards.
But hey, we want to keep the lights on here at For Collectors Studios, so hit the like button for us, guys.
So thanks everybody for coming, and yeah, we'll see you next time on For Collectors.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the For Collectors channel if you haven't done so yet, and see you soon.
All right, guys. Clemente Collector has said we hit a grand slam, so that makes me feel good.